Stalker 2 releases on November 20th for PC and Xbox Series X and S. It does appear to be a timed exclusive though, so maybe sometime in the future, PlayStation players. And also I think it's noteworthy to put this in the beginning, although this is primarily a single player experience, we are told that a multiplayer mode will be added to Stalker 2 soon after its release as a free update. So having recently been playing Fallout 4 on its survival mode, I've become greatly intrigued by Stalker 2, which is why I'm making this video. But with that said, although Stalker 2 does have some real notable role-playing features, this game is not your traditional Fallout RPG. In fact, the devs don't even label it as an RPG. They label it as an immersive sim survival game. Let's talk about what we know and see if this one might be for you.
A good man is always on time for lunch.
Who said I'm a good man?
Richter, the guys from the detention center, and me, Scar.
Stalker 2 features a very large, seamless open world with a dynamic day and night cycle with various weather conditions. And this world is said to be 64 square kilometers in size, and for players that want to discover all of its secrets, expect over 100 hours of gameplay. Now, to put that world size into perspective, Skyrim's world was around 37, with Elden Ring clocking in around 79 square kilometers. Now, GSC Game World, the studio behind Stalker 2, has told us that there will be almost no artificial barriers stopping you from going where you want to go in this open world. So definitely expect that feeling of freedom of exploration and the rewards that can come with that, something that is very present in the Fallout games as well. Your job in Stalker 2 isn't just to survive though, as there is a non-linear main story that will unfold that is said to have a variety of paths that lead to one of several endings. The main story is estimated to be around 40 hours of content. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is inspired by the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster that took place in Ukraine, but the game's lore also includes a fictional explosion that occurred in 2006. Now, these cataclysmic events have made the zone a place filled with violent mutants, deadly anomalies, and warring factions. You will be taking on the role of a lone stalker, and stalkers are scavengers in the zone in search of artifacts of great power and value. As you explore, you'll be coming across these weird anomalies which may lead you to some of these artifacts, and these artifacts can provide a variety of benefits to you as well as drawbacks, so just be careful. You'll find yourself on a mission to charge a mysterious artifact using the zone's energy, but you end up getting ambushed and left for dead by some stalkers, and this puts you on the main task of retrieving that special stolen artifact from the one who robbed you. Stalker 2 will also feature various side missions, so it's important to note that although you do have great freedom in what you choose to do, this is not just a survival game that throws you into a big sandbox post-apocalyptic world with no real story or quest to follow. It's up to you, the player, to decide what and when you want to engage with the different elements of this game. So you can focus more on the story or more on side missions, or just go off and wander for hours exploring and creating your own experiences. We were even told that this game is designed for players to fail, miss, and or skip certain missions and locations, which is kind of similar to the design of Baldur's Gate 3. This of course creates a replayability factor, something that many RPG lovers love to see in these games.
I had a good run. Got 3 whole artifacts. Hamster was jumping with freaking joy. I could go back and...
Factions in the zones will also play a big role in this game story-wise and choice consequence-wise. Choice consequence is used quite a lot in the advertising for this game, and it's up to you if you want to attempt to befriend some of these factions to get more information on the one who betrayed you. You can kill some of these factions. I think you can shoot pretty much anybody in this game. You can join some factions to fight other factions, or maybe even try to avoid some of the factions. A lot of this is in your own hands. Now, moving on from the story, one of the main attractions of this game is of course the immersive sim survival elements. The devs wanted you to feel like you're actually surviving, and with that will come some level of notable difficulty. This is not really a game for those of you who want to turn your brains off while you're playing and have everything handed to you on a silver platter on that yellow brick road. Now, with that said, the game will feature 3 difficulties, I read, but the normal difficulty, in the devs' words, is already being tuned to be really difficult. And the higher difficulty not only makes gameplay even harder, but it also strips back HUD and UI elements. Now, only time will tell how hard that third, what I'm assuming easier difficulty would be, but I wouldn't really come into this game expecting to just always be walking around admiring the beautiful wildlife on the plains of Skyrim. This game is designed at its core to make you actually feel like you have to survive in a harsh, dangerous environment, and that's a big part of the appeal of this game to its target audience. But if you're not really into that, keep an eye out on what this easier difficulty may entail. Expect plenty of survival mechanics such as hunger, thirst, sleeping, bleeding, radiation effects, and more. And also expect more, I guess I could say hardcore like mechanics such as gun durability, which if ignored will cause some weapons to jam mid-fight, a very realistic mechanic to include, and likely something quite terrifying to experience in this game with mutants running all around. So take care of those weapons. Speaking of weapons, we were also told that there are 30 plus types of weapons with numerous modifications that allow for the creation of hundreds of distinctive lethal combinations. Now, many of you are likely wondering about character progression, and this is one of the areas that kind of pushes Stalker 2 out of the RPG category when compared to Fallout, for example, as there is no leveling in this game. You're not going to be earning XP and diving into skill trees or anything like that. Progression in this game comes more down to your own knowledge as a player of the world and how to navigate it. And of course, you will be finding, more and better survival equipment and gear, and also finding better guns and modifying these guns with some special attachments to make them more effective and specialized, which is a form of progression. And also, we can't forget that finding artifacts in anomalies will also provide your character with some benefits, but be wary of possible drawbacks with those as well. Combat in Stalker 2 is said to be tactical, so do not expect to be this run and gun like player. I mean, maybe some of you will find a way to make it work, but this isn't like your Call of Duty like campaign. Many times you may actually want to avoid combat entirely, as it's very dangerous in this game, and the game will force you to learn that very early on. So expect to die many times, especially if you're a player that is new to the Stalker games. This is part of the experience. In a way, it's kind of like dying as part of the Souls experience. Once again, we have more elements of realism in this game, with headshots on humans being an instant kill, which, I mean, doesn't always happen in real life, but most of the time it does. So taking your time with shots can make a really big difference. But at the same time, you're going to find yourself in some stressful combat situations where taking your time and really trying to collect yourself may prove to be quite difficult. The opponents that you'll encounter, whether they be humans or mutated creatures, will also be quite unpredictable at times, as there are many different behavior models that are used in this game. Each mutant type may appear in different subtypes, and yes, expect plenty of legendary mutants that are ready to tear you apart, something that does make me think of Fallout once again. And lastly, I just wanted to end talking about this side quest that GameSpot got to experience with their hands-on time. I'll leave a link to their video down below, as I think it illustrates the dangers of this world, but also the excitement of exploration and the unknown. This particular mission took the player to a ruined house in a field of deadly, anomalous poppy flowers in search of a lost religious icon. But what's interesting here, though, is that you'll find out quickly that these flowers, as beautiful as they are in this harsh environment, actually cause a sleep effect. They make your character drowsy, and if you hang out too long, you'll actually fall asleep to never wake again. The game's not very forgiving. To make this even more interesting, you'll see these wisps of petals that are being carried maybe by the wind, occasionally flying around in your vicinity, increasing that feeling of drowsiness. Very cool. So yeah, that's a quick overview of Stalker 2. If you're not sure about it, I will be streaming the game on the 20th right here on this channel, as well as on my Twitch channel. The file size is apparently 150 gigabytes on PC, so it's very big file size wise, and who really knows how the performance is going to be on launch, but I'm going to be buying it and testing that out. This game really feels like a much more hardcore but less RPG version of Fallout on survival mode, and as someone who tends to value challenge, immersion and exploration in games. This one seems like it's right up my alley. What do you all think about Stalker 2? I'm genuinely curious as to how specifically Fallout players feel about this game, because it does share many similarities, but they're also kind of in different genres at the same time. I'm curious as to what you guys think, and I'll catch you on the next one.